there's a drug that the FDA approved, but one of the doctors found out one of the control groups over-ovulated, so this drug gives 96% chance of fertility.
Okay, well, you know what? We can cover just about everything.
Okay.
And whatever you like to do. This is really something for anybody who does interview shows or any kind of show. When you have somebody who wants to come back.
Oh, yeah.
So if you haven't watched my show, you won't know this person. If you have, which I hope you have been watching, you will recognize this face. It's a face I love having sitting here. He always gives a great conversation. Author George Kramer, welcome back.
Thanks, Michelle.
And like I said, it's just wonderful because you were someone who actually approached and said, I'd do it again. I'll do your show again. And that really does make you feel good because there's so many people who interview you, I'm sure.
Oh,
and
yeah.
How many of them, maybe I don't want to know, how many of them do you actually like to interview with? I mean...
Well, some of them are far away, so we've done Zoom.
Oh, that's not as much fun for me.
No, I've done England.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting. I had to be at a certain time for them over the pond.
Okay. No, it's just, you know, and people always ask me why I didn't Zoom and do this or that. It's just much more fun for me. I keep saying that. I'd like to have the person here. I like to tell you to, in your case, bring the books. I've had other people, and I say you've brought show and tell because I like that and I like handling the things. And one of the things is that I reached out to George because he's talking about having a new book out and gets here today, and that's what we were talking about. He's got 3 since we interviewed last.
Yes, 4, but I didn't.
4. Oh, okay. Well, okay.
I've been on a writing frenzy.
That, you know, in my own way I am, but in my case, that means I've got all these different things started, and then all of a sudden I get an idea for something else, and I got to get it down. And so right now I'm in a rush. Whatever gets done first is the next book. That's it.
Well, I've got a few in the works as well. Also, I wrote 5 screenplays.
Okay, so I think you had talked about that you were writing a screenplay before, so now 5.
Yeah, now there's 5. And then I wrote a stage play. I would like to talk about that too.
Oh, okay. Well, I always say it's your interview, whatever you like.
Okay, I'll talk about my books, but the stage play, it's called Trapped in the Elevator, something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, I sent it to a friend that puts on plays, and I sent it to her. I gave a log line, a synopsis. She set up a table read, and the actors and actresses really enjoyed it. So now, early sometime next year, we're going to do a 4-hour workshop where we tweak it.
Oh, okay.
Stuck in the Elevator, that's what it's called. And a snooty CEO, she gets stuck in an elevator with a janitor for 90 minutes.
Okay. Now, what's interesting is that you tend to write like horror, things like that. Now, for me, that would be horror.
There's no horror, it's just...
But I'm saying, the reason I was going to say is that for me, what you're describing, I've always been absolutely terrified of being stuck in an elevator. So it's interesting that here you've written this thing that isn't, but, you know, for somebody like me, I mean, that's like, yeah, we all have those fears.
Right, it's more comedic.
Okay.
And so just the interplay and what they talk about during that time frame, I just find it very interesting, and I'm hoping to have it put on sometime next year.
Oh, okay. Well, when that happens, you are welcome to have the microphone and come back and tell people about it and where it will be seen, anything like that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll get to my books. Can I put this in front of the...
Oh, absolutely. We want people to see it.
This is called Perpetual Transfers. It's based on a short story. I just expanded a little bit. It started in 1400s, 1500s, where this boy is running through a crop field that's in fire. I think it might be in Russia. And he trips and falls and he finds an amulet. And he finds that that you can live other people's, you can live through 100, and then with that amulet, You have powers. You can put out the fire. You can control things because the 4 elements of Earth are there. Fire, water, air.
Okay.
And then it goes every 100 years. He or she has to transfer their life force into another person for the perpetual transfer.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought of it.
Yeah. I always thought it was fun, like I said, the way your mind works. Just because,
Okay. This is the perpetual transfer is fantasy. BAMI, Bureau of Magical Investigations, is fantasy, and I really like the black and white cover. It stands out. Mm-hmm. So, in the Bureau of Magical Investigations basement, something's been trying to come out, and there are guards and security guards. The only job is to protect from whatever's in there from coming out, but no one knows what's in there. And I give 2 or 3 clues, but I do not tell you what comes out. I want you to guess. And I tell people that buy the book, and it's sold well, take a business card, get my email, tell me what you think it is. If it is, I'll send you a Starbucks card. If not, well, friends, I make them. I've drank about 4 cups of Starbucks coffee because they could not get it out. They could not figure out. But I do send them, if they're interested, a picture of what's actually housed in there.
Okay.
Okay. 3rd book, called Veiled Intentions. Now, this, one of my family members said looks creepy, but that's the point. So there is this new drug that boasts a 96% fertility rate for any woman that cannot get pregnant. The problem is Dr. Lisa Clark found out in one of the control groups in the study overovulated, which annulled the results, and she tried to talk to her boss, and the boss basically told her shut up. So 9 months later, she's going to her gynecologist, and the whole lobby is filled with pregnant women who have these sores on their faces. So it takes time for Lisa Clark and the gynecologist to make the connection that it was the drug based on her company's pill. And then you fast forward 12 years, you find out that 99.9% of the female that were pregnant lose the baby. Horrifically in some because of the drug's side effect. However, that 0.1% of children are born by 1 year older, they're smaller than Einstein. So it just goes how Dr. Lisa Clark has to deal with the smartest child. She is the smartest of the smartest. And Dr. Lisa, and they're starting to take over. So Dr. Clark has to find a way to neutralize the drug.
Okay. That's another one that has, if you aren't familiar with George's books, a lot of them have medical overtones, undertones, tones. Yeah. And so this is another one with the medical thing. Yeah. What I do have to follow up with that. What made you decide then, because this is medically a little bit different than your others, what made you decide to go with the problem with the pharmaceutical product?
Okay, very good question. This originally was a short story for an online contest, but I missed the deadline. The theme was hot and cold. Okay. So I decided to do the pill with the hot and cold theme. There's 2 different types of sores. One responds only to frigid cold to neutralize it, and the other one only responds to hot, and you learn about that.
Oh, okay.
So it just progressed from there.
Okay. And I said, the way your mind works, I know it just
Snowballs.
snowballs. Absolutely. So you said there's a fourth one that you didn't bring, though. Now, what's that one?
Supernatural Wars. It's an alpha vampire. Yes, and the woman is the queen of werewolves, but it's very hard for her to change. She just has the genes, the genetics that can turn. It's just very hard for her. And those two should be bitter enemies, but they become fast friends, and there's a lot of rogue vampires, and both of them go on a journey to eradicate these. And then the Council of Vampires sends them in, and they basically want them to have a baby together because they want to control that. It's going to be extremely powerful, the hybrid. So the child is born, and stuff happens from there.
Oh, okay. Now, I think actually that was the one you had mentioned previously. I remember something about vampires.
Well, I do have a vampire book. It's
Right.
called Vampires of the Eight.
Oh, okay. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's medical though.
Okay.
It's based on 8 human blood types. Not all vampires can take
Right.
blood from any human. Depends on the blood type, and they can sniff it out. I will tell you, everybody that bought that book, 100% of people that got back to me never saw the ending coming. Everybody, even at work today, someone said, "When is that sequel going to come out?" And I said to my friend, "Look, I wrote 2 sequels. They're half done, and I don't like either one."
Oh.
And I said, "I'm not going to throw them out. It's just
Right.
that it just got too far away from the main point I wanted."
Oh, okay. So I guess, because I remember talking about that particular vampire book with the blood types and everything. So I guess we were discussing, maybe you were working on the sequels at that time?
Yeah.
And the ones you ended up not liking. Okay.
Right.
So in the meantime, these.
Yeah, and the Supernatural Wars, and I
Okay.
have I'm working on a woman that gets inherited from her grandmother a house in Vermont, and she finds letters from her great-great-grandmother addressed to her, and she doesn't know why, and she has to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That I was going to say, because this is one time where, I mean, obviously many more, but I can attest that somebody comes, finds one of your books, likes it. There are plenty more at this point. So what is the grand total now?
Well, 25 published, but the 26th is with the editor right now.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of like, so there's a lot there, and
Different genres.
in different genres. So you got fantasy, we got that. You got the medical things,
Medical horror.
medical horror,
Supernatural. I have murder mystery, poetry, short stories, and I'm sure there's more, but I got like 13 or 14 fantasy. I really enjoy writing fantasy. And someone says, "Oh, this is science fiction." I was like, "No, it's fantasy." And I was like, there's a big difference, because in science fiction, if you're going to go to another planet, you have to know what type of ship, the propulsion center, the terrain of the planet, everything. With fantasy, you can write about purple dragons that spit out trees as long as it's relative to the storyline. In other words, it uses much more of my imagination. That's why I like fantasy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as usual, I will have information in the description as to where you can get any and all of these books. Absolutely. And you've got the play that you were talking about.
Stuck in the Elevator.
Okay. And we'll work on getting you back when you'll have to let me know when that is going to be seen.
Right.
Okay. And yeah, that is just awesome. I want to say, trying to keep up with all the different, here I think you had one new book. I just have to say that. And so, like I said, it'd be exciting to get you back again and see what you've got for us. And, well, I'll see you next time wherever.